buzzer. Yeah!
Free. Down to 3. Down to 2. It's a 3. Good! Good! James Harden, a flamethrower.
Sengun. Oh, no.
Welcome into another episode of Red Nation Radio. I am your host, Spencer Nolan, with my man, Harley Dugan. Harley, the Rockets dropped an easy victory. At least some might have thought it was going to be an easy victory. They dropped a game to the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas the last time we saw them. And the Rockets continue to have just the weirdest schedule of all time. Have not played since then. But I think, Harley, to start the show off, I think we have to talk about, we came off the last episode talking about their loss to the Jazz. One similarity I'm seeing here is, are we going to struggle on the second night of back-to-backs all year long? Is this going to be a problem?
Yeah, I see where you're going there because, we had no Sengun or Steven Adams for this game. And update for if anyone was worried, Sengun did practice today. So I didn't think anybody would be worried, but he was out
illness.
there today.
I always feel weird when it's an illness that keeps athletes out of their game.
I feel you.
How bad? How sick are they?
Yeah, right. It makes it just that black cloud starts getting in your head. Hey, look, Jabari, I thought had himself a pretty decent game against the Mavericks. Anthony Davis just 29. I mean, Anthony Davis kind of looked like AD, what we're kind of used to seeing AD look like. He had 29 points in the game, but no, you're right, man. This has been a constant thing that has come up for the Houston Rockets since they are going to rest Steven Adams for anything that's back-to-back. They're going to ramp up Clint Capela's minutes a little bit more, especially in this game. So he had 30 minutes, 8 points, 8 rebounds for Clint Capela.
Can I just be honest, though? From what I've seen, that's a good stat line and all. What my eyes tell me is that Clint Capela was horrendous. He does not look like he belongs out there. And it's sad because he was such a big part of this Rockets team back in those mid-2010s, but I'm out. I think I'm out. I'm ready to be done with him.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I don't think you notice his deficiencies as much when he's only getting 12 minutes a game and 15 minutes a game. But when it is the second of the back-to-backs and he gets these 20-plus minute kind of games, now you're going, okay, was it 3 years, 21 million, 23 million, something like that?
Yeah.
Not looking so hot right now for the Rockets.
It will be traded almost 100% guaranteed.
If they have an opportunity to, yes, I would love to jump off of that contract. And I'm sure that we can find some center that has enough hustle and enough effort and younger than a Clint Capela. Hey, I'll give him his credit where credit's due, though. That Phoenix Suns game, he ended that game with a nasty block.
He did.
I gotta give it to him. Clint Capela. Every once in a while, that clock goes back in time, and we get to see a glimpse of the 2010s Capela, like you were talking about. So, it's not pretty, but hey, it's something that I believe they're going to be looking into moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. What's so funny is he was supposed to replace the Jock Landale role. And meanwhile, Jock Landale, Grizzlies aren't much of anything, but he low-key's turned into a solid contributor for the Grizzlies out there. I think I'd rather have Jock Landale back as the third center over Steven Adams, as crazy as that sounds in my head. But one thing we didn't touch on recently that I feel like as the Rockets fans that we are, we need to at least address the news about CP3 getting, quote, sent home from the Clippers, which I don't know, Harley, maybe I've followed basketball my whole life. I've never heard someone being referred to as being sent home before they waived him. I've never heard it be called that before. And I don't know. Things are just weird. Really, really bad look for the Clippers franchise to treat arguably the greatest player in your franchise's history like this. But that being said, Chris Paul's said in the media recently that he's staying ready. It's not a retirement for him. So, Harley, we must address the obvious. Would CP3 be a good fit for the 25-26 Houston Rockets?
Yes. I mean, why not? You're looking at a guy that he's not looking to start. He was already getting about, 14 minutes a game he was averaging with the Los Angeles Clippers. And look, is it the best option to go get potentially as another ball handler for this Rockets team who continue to struggle in half court offensive sets, moving the ball up court. Like that continues to be a problem. Maybe not as much in some games against lesser teams, but it is still noticeable enough for this Rockets crew. And Chris Paul, look, 3 points, 3 assists a game, a turnover a game as well too. But I'm in Thompson, who has had about 5 assists, maybe 6 assists to a 3 turnover ratio. It isn't very pretty, and you're relying a lot on Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun to continue move that ball up and being primary passers. And I got no problem with Sengun doing it, no problem with Kevin Durant doing it. Hell, he did a lot of that during the Kings game where we were struggling in the first half, but he continued to make plays for you. Chris Paul is a veteran. Ime Udoka obviously knows him. He knows Udoka. He knows KD. Like, this feels like a pretty solid option if I'm the Rockets. 10 to 15 minutes for him, not going too crazy. Every once in a while, because he's just that good of a player, he's going to turn back the clock a little bit. He's going to have those games where he might feel it. But as of right now, I don't mind it, but I'm also going, whose minutes is he ultimately taking away? And that's where you have a little bit of a problem trying to figure this out, because sure, Tari Eason and Darian Finney-Smith are still out, and he could fit right in right now. But when Tari Eason, who's reportedly going to be coming back before Dorian Finney-Smith returns, then how does the minutes allocate themselves, and how does this all work out eventually? And I haven't even mentioned Reed Sheppard, who continues to progress as a guard. I'll just throw guard in general for him. But Chris Paul, man, I don't know how you're feeling about it, but I don't necessarily mind it. I could be swayed either way, though.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I would say no. I wouldn't be mad at it, though, just because it'd be a very good storybook ending for Chris Paul going back to one of the teams that arguably, besides his finals appearance with the Suns, he wasn't closer to winning a championship than he was with the Rockets. And some might even argue that he was the closest with the Rockets, despite having that finals appearance with the Suns. He was actually closer in 2018. But I say that, but I'm not sure. You mentioned it. I think you hit the nail on the head. Whose minutes is he actually going to be taking? Right? When we are fully healthy, I don't see him taking minutes from Amin or Reed Sheppard, right? And I'll be honest also, I'm not even convinced. I'd rather see him get minutes over Aaron Holiday, who I think he's given the Rockets some really good minutes this season, in some spots where he's been really needed. I'm not saying he's the answer at point guard by any means, but I think I'm comfortable with Aaron Holiday as the veteran point guard in case of emergencies. He's got, veteran tendencies. He's there in the presence in the locker room. And that's the other thing too. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, you need Chris Paul's veteran presence. You need his veteran presence." I don't think it would be something that'd be bad, but is it needed when you've got Kevin Durant, you've got Fred VanVleet still showing up to all the games, you've got Aaron Holiday, you got Uncle Jeff Green. I think this team has plenty of veteran leadership. So then it comes down to, would Chris Paul being in your rotation actually make you a better basketball team? I'm just not convinced. So I'd probably lean no, but the fan in me that wants to see CP3 go out with some glory and some dignity, I'd welcome it in that regard. But gun to my head, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, and again, I could have been swayed either way here. I'm going to lean yes, just because, yeah, man, I'm talking about Clint Capela in 2010s, and if I feel nostalgic, I feel nostalgic,
It would be poetic. It would be really poetic.
It would be hilarious that James Harden, who is at least rumored to potentially be gone from the LA Clippers at some point during this season, does not win a ring in his career, but Chris Paul comes to Houston on the last year of his career and Capela win a ring this year. That would be extremely funny, actually. And actually rather sad, to be honest.
But in that same vein, I've also seen his name, Chris Paul's name, get linked to the OKC Thunder, who I think that could be an interesting fit for him. And it's another team where he had a stop there, had a large impact on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's career. He said it himself. So we'll see where Chris Paul ends up. No matter what, though, I will always look back on his 2 years with the Rockets very fondly. I think it could have and should have ended a lot more gloriously. But hey, if he wants to come here and give us some veteran minutes, I'm not opposed. Harley, anything before we wrap it up?
Not much, man. We are December 9th right now, the Houston Rockets obviously still about top 5 in the rest of the Western Conference. Yeah, that skid of a game against the Mavs where I looked, it was 68-68, come back, we're down 83-70, and I was like, whoa, what happened? So, they're going to clean up some things. They're going to get a little healthier. Obviously, Sengun didn't play that game, but the Rockets are going to continue to do what they're doing, win games, win the majority of their games. I'm just trying to figure out, and we're still in this boat, when are they going to get into having to make that move? Where do they need to make that move in order to catapult them into, right there with the Thunder and Nuggets? Even though they're right there with them, it just feels like there's something missing before they really enter that conversation.
Yeah. And we are quickly approaching February. The trade deadline will be here before we know it. So we got about 2 months to make moves. So, and we also have contracts starting to hit their dates where they can be moved here. Next week is when that's officially going to open. So we might see some rumors starting to flow out here a little bit more. We might get some stuff cooking. It's not the hot stove, that's baseball, but the basketball hot stove is going to be cooking. Well, Harley, that about wraps us up this week. We will see y'all same time next week with more Rockets talk. And until then, go Rockets.